Hi, everybody. Recruiting Animal here on May 24th, 2023, with two great recruiters already here on time. Unbelievable. Okay. In fact, I got to tell you something. I think these intros are, I have thought to myself, I was just scolding Rich Rosen, but I said to myself, everybody comes so late. I should start rehearsing what I'm going to say. I can start the show on my own until these guys show up on time. Anyway, we got foodindustryrecruiter.com. The famous Mr. Purple, our own Barney, Ernie Moreno, and super rich Rosen, number 14 or whatever. I hate to say it, he had a drop, but he's still the 14th most famous recruiter in America on the Forbes list. And I'll bet still the highest rated solo recruiter. Am I right about that, Mr. Rosen?
You are right. You are right.
How's my sound?
You sound good. I'm far away.
Everybody else is good, and so maybe we should ask. I'll save the second Rich question for. I'll ask the Rich question right off the bat. Rich says, "This is a quote from the past. It's tough to be your best if you're afraid to ask tough questions. But what are those questions? It left me hanging. Okay, what are the tough questions?"
Well, the tough questions, you got to know what you're selling, why people have left. You got to be able to ask your client on the job. There's two sides on the job. You got to be able to ask.
First of all, do you stand by what you said in the past? You stand 100%. By that quotation?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So you have to say
he's setting you up for later on.
I only pretend that I didn't prepare, but I did prepare. Okay, and I'm gonna zap them. Okay, no, but hold on. So you asked them the first question. If my mother was listening to this, she'd say, "What are you screaming all the time for? What's wrong with you?" Okay.
Did your mom scream at you when she said that?
She did. Once she listened to the show before she died. Okay, and that's what she said. What's going on there? But okay, she didn't. Okay. But okay. So one of the questions you ask is, why is this job open? Why did the last guy leave? Is that what you just said?
Yeah, I mean, you're going to go into you got to but you can't let them just get off the hook with a fluffy answer. Where they're just like, oh, he wasn't good. All right, well, why wasn't he good? What did he do wrong? What did you do to support him? And then you get into, you go down that path of questions. And then
what do you mean? Take me down that path. Take me.
It's a scary path.
Take me to the river.
You can't handle that path.
Wash me in the water.
Yeah, sounds like a whole nother show. No, but if a client's like, hey, listen, why is the role open? They're like, oh, the guy didn't work out. Okay, why? What happened? And most recruiters aren't going to dig. They're not even going to go that deep. They're not going to even ask why. They're just going to say, okay, he said it's open. I don't want to ruin it. But you got to know why and how many other people didn't work out. How many times have you tried to fill this role? How long you've been looking for the role? All pretty basic questions. But you want to get to the impetus of, what's the constant here? Is it this VP that's just turning people over? Are they not giving people a chance to be successful? Are they changing accounts? What is the reason why people haven't succeeded here? And then why have people succeeded here? What's the difference? How many people are succeeding? You got to understand at least for sales guys, what's their path to success? And are they going to have a runway to succeed?
Okay. And is anybody going to say, Ernie, 1 second, is anybody going to say, hey, Rich, I'm looking for a recruiter. I'm not in an inquisition here. Okay. Who do you think you're talking to? Okay? I'm the boss. Okay, you don't push me around. Does anybody say that?
No.
Does anybody refuse to answer those questions?
No. I mean, well, some people, they try to get away with fluffy answers because they don't know the answer or they know it's going to make them look bad. And I tell them, listen, it's okay if I know it's not going to make you look great. I can fix that, but I need to know the real. What
do you mean you can fix it? You can't fix it.
How you're going?
I'm going to lie for you, buddy.
How are you going to spit it and present it to your buyer?
How come you don't say, look, if you've got some faults, I'll coach you through them so you can improve your own management style? How come you don't say that?
Because I'm not a management coach. I can give you tips and things like that.
You could be a management. Don't you believe you could be a management coach?
I probably could, but you know what? It's that's a second step of the process.
There's no money in it.
I'm just going to follow up with one more. Hi, Tommy. Okay, but hey. If these guys. I forgot my question. I forgot. Ernie, do you have Ernie, would you? So we're taking these tough questions one by one. Okay.
Right.
So that's his first one. why is this open? Okay. Would you ask that same question?
Yeah, I mean, you have to ask that question. You know, you also have to ask a question of why would a candidate who's employed come work for you?
Why would someone quit a job? It's not even why if they're employed. Yeah, exactly. Why would someone quit their job to come work for you? And if they don't have an answer for that, it's a huge flag. You know, if they don't know why if they can't sell me in 30 seconds why their company is better than someone else, why they're going to leave, you got a very limited pool of people to go after. You know,
or that hiring manager
wants an A player. Hang on, everyone wants an A player.
Okay, I got a rebuttal for that. You're not necessarily looking for that this is better than somebody. This isn't just a job, just like every other one. And the point is, sometimes you have to call a lot of people. You know how these candidates are always posting on Twitter, why are these recruiters calling me with this job that's no better than what I've got, or it's even not as good? Well, I'm going to tell you, everybody, sometimes somebody wants a job for a reason you can't figure out. Even if they're earning more money and they're in a great company, sometimes, you know, they want to take care of their parents, so they want to be closer to them. Okay, the older parents, you don't know that until you phone and talk to them. And then they're going to say, you're an idiot, you recruiter. You're stupid. Why are you calling me? And then the next person says, you know what? I don't care if it's less money. I don't care about the location. It's great for me. Okay, I'm a special case. Would you guys agree with me about that? The job doesn't have to be better. It can be worse.
I'm not sure.
That's an anomaly. That's an anomaly. It happens.
I mean, it's that whole stopwatches, right choice a day kind of thing. I mean, anything can happen, but it's not something.
So hold on, Rich. How can you be guaranteed that the job you're recruiting for is going to be better than everything else on the market?
You can't. How can you be guaranteed about anything in this world?
You just asked the guy. Ernie said too. Why would people quit? Why would they?
Right,
why would they change?
But you're listen. We're not social workers. We're salespeople. All right. You need ammunition to sell your job. If this guy's not going to sell it, then how the fuck am I going to sell it?
Okay, he can tell you what he likes about his company, but he doesn't know that it's better than every other company out there.
But he knows why. He knows what makes his company exciting.
You're like splitting hairs here. You're splitting hairs.
Yeah, I mean, he knows what makes his company exciting. You can't work with a manager who can't sell his own job.
You know, and it's not the company so much as it's the hiring manager. It's that person, because that person is the company.
Okay, but hold on, Ernie, let me ask you that. So the hiring manager might not, everybody says these hiring managers, they recruit every once in a while. They don't know how to sell their company. So you might have to coach them to draw that stuff out of them. Am I right, Ernie?
Yeah, you do.
But Rich Rosen, super rich. Okay,
my guys
said, if they can't sell their own company, I don't want to work with them. You have to teach them how to sell.
Guys, they're fucking deals with sales.
Thank you. Mine are sales guys and they're startup guys. You know, so like CEOs, they got to be able to sell it. The CTOs, for CTOs, like I'll get these little tech guys that I interview sales guys. I will send them sales questions to ask with kind of answers to look for. Oftentimes.
Oh, you never admitted that before. This is new because he always says, I don't tell them what to ask because they'll get mad at me. No. Okay.
Most of the time.
No, you said I never
use the word never. You go find a clip where I say never. There's no nevers in recruiting. Anyway, the joy of ChatGPT is
never been exceptions.
Exactly. You never say never except when you're saying never. But but the joy of ChatGPT, you say quickly, hey, I have a CTO interviewing salespeople. What questions should they ask? What should those answers look like?
And you're going to get really good answers?
Sometimes,
ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Okay, Ernie wanted to say something. You're not dealing, Ernie, with salespeople. These guys, you can't expect them to sell their job, can they?
No. You have to find out for yourself how good they are, because they can kill a deal. I mean, God, heaven help you.
But you got to remember, like I'm selling sales guys to sales guys. You're selling, whatever, manufacturing guys to manufacturing guys. They speak the same language. They're going to understand what makes this job and this company exciting.
I don't think so.
And if they don't, it's a bad client. You're wasting your time. Again, we are not social workers. 90% of the recruiters in all these Facebook groups and everything else think we're social workers. We're not.
No, but we're recruiting coaches.
We're salespeople.
No, we're
We're
recruiting
salespeople
coaches
selling
for our
people.
clients. Are
I'm
you
not a
saying no?
recruiting coach.
No, I'm a salesperson, full and full.
Ernie, are you going to agree with me on that? You're a recruiting coach for your client because you're not dealing with salespeople. You can't assume that these hiring managers can fully articulate off the top of their head why it's a good opportunity to come and work for them.
You do what you have to do, but at the end of the day, it's
Listen,
all about making
don't
money.
act like Ernie and Animal. You both look like sales. Saying the word sales is like saying a 4-letter word.
No, you used it. You said no, and Tommy used it. He said,
Yeah,
"Oh,
because
sales
being a
guys, they know what to
salesperson
do."
is not a bad thing. Being a salesperson, you
I
should be
never
proud of being a
said-
salesperson. No, I
Look,
mean,
that's a
no
straw
one
man.
makes
That's
more
what
money.
you call a straw man
Okay,
argument.
now
He makes it
you're
up
putting
himself.
now you're putting words in their mouth there.
Yeah, yes.
Look, I can look at the Cajuness that Ernie's answering this question with, like he's
No,
on
no,
court.
no. I mean, the thing is this.
Tom, what do you say? Right?
You're dealing with salespeople. That's a
this
different thing.
freezing-
You're dealing with other
Yeah.
people that aren't sales. You gotta know how to work with that group, and that's a whole different group. But even asking the question as to why should somebody come work for you, a lot of people don't know how to answer that. I mean, because it gets personal.
Let's bring in Tommy. He's got a new
company.
headset. Am I right about that? A miracle happened. Is he
Yeah.
going to sound good? Say something.
I hope so.
But it's
Yeah.
not connected to anything though.
Okay, Tom,
It's,
you're not
it's
selling to
my Apple
salespeople.
set.
You're not selling to salespeople either, are you?
When you say
You're
selling
working
to salespeople, like
technical
candidates,
jobs. You're doing technical
My
jobs.
candidates are engineers, but you're going to hate this. But my clients want engineers with personality. They want engineers who can sell, that aren't pocket protector, Dungeons and Dragons playing type engineers. They want engineers that can talk to people, that can have conversations, that don't look at their shoes when they're having a conversation. So my engineers can sell, and the clients can sell, and it's important for them to be able to sell the opportunity to the candidate on why they should come work there. And every single one of my clients can tell you in a 30-second elevator pitch of why they should come work for their company.
Wow.
Those are good clients.
Who knew? Okay, so that's the first question. I'll just bring it up to speed, Tom. Rich said it's tough to be your best if you're afraid to ask tough questions. So his first question was, why would anybody want to work here? Rich, is there another question that comes to mind? Another tough question, or is that really the lead?
Yeah, I mean, but
That's a question on the MRI.
Yeah, those are
job
standard.
order.
They're all standard questions. I mean, these are things. It's all. The point is, it's digging and pushing for the answer. Everyone's got the same questions. It's do you let the client get off or the candidate get off by just saying, I didn't like the boss, or the product didn't work if it's a candidate or whatever, or do you push and say, really, anyone else sell anything? Really, did no one in the company sold anything? And like, where'd you rank in the sales team? I was number 1. Well, okay. And you did 2% of the company's, two deals. I'm like,
There's me and another guy.
Yeah, exactly. So listen, I deal with startups. It often is just him and one other guy.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's the whole point of that comment though. It's not letting people get away with a fluffy bullshit answer. Because just like with the client, the candidate, if I have to stretch and figure out how I'm going to sell this candidate, he's not a good candidate.
And
If they can't give me the information that I need to help protect them and make sure I don't look stupid, because I mean, there's two things. Your reputation in this industry is number 1. There's nothing else more important. So you don't want to look like a fool. You don't want to send bad candidates in. You don't want to work with bad clients. And so you need to get this information, and most recruiters fail to get it or don't even try because they're just too thankful that someone's actually talking to them.
They're excited they got a job order.
Exactly. And right now, job orders aren't that easy. So I
have
hear
a question.
you.
If you're asking MarioTheRecruiter.com, and what's your URL? You used to put it there. Now it's Palermo Roads. What PR Search Inc?
PRSearchInc.com.
Okay. But so what Rich is saying here, you put the bright light in the face of the hiring manager, the hiring manager and the candidate, right? And you're not afraid of embarrassing these people by exposing their weaknesses. Isn't that what he's been saying? Don't let them get away with it. How
Again,
you said you're a great salesperson, you sold nothing.
Sales guys aren't embarrassed of their weaknesses. So
Well,
if
they
a good
are. They
sales
try to
guy
cover them
will
up.
talk about what their weaknesses are. If you can't talk about your weaknesses, I know what my weaknesses are and I can talk about them. If you can't talk about them, you're a shitty sales guy.
Yeah, but most sales guys, most sales guys don't talk about the weaknesses. They cover them up, and they want to downplay them to the nth degree. So they're everyone thinks salespeople are like these easy people to place. They're absolutely far, far, far from it. They're just better bullshitters than the people that you guys are mostly dealing with. And but there's a lot more spin they put into everything. You got to be, a human lie detector to figure out a lot of the crap.
So it sounds like your candidates and maybe your clients might hate you, Rich. Is that
Maybe,
true?
don't care as long as the checks come. I mean,
Okay, but they'll
clearly
still
they don't
work
hate
with
me,
you,
but
even if you're a tough cookie, like you said. Ask.
But I'm not that
you-
tough. I don't ask it like I'm a jerk and it's interrogation. It's like
We started off. he said
Yeah,
it's-
yeah.
The thing
It's
is, the
tough to
thing is,
be
you
your-
gotta, as you're listening to the answer that they're giving you, you gotta then follow up with, hey, okay, what the hell really happened? Come on.
yeah.
You
I mean,
adjust,
but
yeah.
sometimes you say it just like that. I mean, it's having a personality and really, building rapport with these guys by not just here's my 5 questions and here I'm a robot. You know what? I'll just send them to you, fill them out, and send me the answers. That's what most of the loser recruiters do. I actually have a conversation and then I help them. I tell them, hey, listen, your resume sucks. This is wrong. That's wrong. Here's how we can spin this. If they're good and they want help. And some people do get pissed. And you know what? 99% of them come back and thank me later, though.
And and a lot of times they'll say, how they put it, like, hey, we weren't getting along, and so we arrived at a mutual
They
understanding.
agree to disagree.
Yeah, and so
know.
I decided to leave. I go, okay, now that's great. Now, what the hell really happened?
Exactly.
Okay,
just
here's a
saying-
question. Here's one of those answers. Oh, we had policy differences. Okay, it means I hated my boss. He was a prick. Okay, policy differences. What would you say, Ernie, if they said, "Well, we had policy differences"? What would you say?
Okay, now tell me what really happened. I
Oh,
mean,
you
why
wouldn't
did
say
you
what
leave?
policies? You wouldn't say what
No,
policies?
not policy. No, let's get down to down and dirty. What the hell happened? Why did you leave?
You know what doesn't exist?
And then just shut up and listen.
Mutual agreement. It was a mutual agreement. No, motherfucker, you got fired. There was no mutual agreement. The only agreement was that guy fired you, and you said, "Oh yeah, I think it's a good idea. I'll leave." There was no mutual agreement.
The
I
down
love
and
that
dirty,
line.
the down and dirty of it. When you start saying, "I got laid off," "I got downsized," and any other words you can think
It
like
was a mutual
you
agreement.
got fired.
Yeah.
You got fired. And sometimes they'll tell people, "Say it. I got fired." No, I was downsized. No, you were fired
No,
because
dude.
they're still working there. And
I
then
got
when they
caught
say,
they got caught in that one person reorg is what happened.
yeah, and then when they say they got fired, I go, now we deal with that, you devil. It's off your chest, and now we can talk.
Yeah.
And
Did Rich just make that up? Instead of fired, it's a one
Yeah.
one person review.
But it is. I mean, listen. At the end of the day, you get these guys to give you the truth, and it's amazing how you can present better and you can work better, and the clients trust you more. The candidate trusts you more too. And honestly,
No surprises.
they stink. Yeah, and if they stink, who cares? You're not going to work with them again. Anyway.
No. If you're interviewing somebody and you ask those questions they don't want to answer, you can feel the coldness coming through on the phone.
Totally.
Okay.
And that's great. It's like when the candidate says, "All right," you start asking questions. It's like, "It's on my resume." Oh wait, let me stop. Let me read your resume. Wait, I've got 400 more people's resumes to read, so let me just never talk to you. I mean, how are you going to interview? I'm like, I don't care what it says in your resume. I'm like, honestly, no one reads your resume. And if you go to the client and say, "Hey, it's on my resume," I mean, they're going to say, "That's great. Is that how you sell too?" They're going to say, "Hey, check out my website. Send me the bill."
And-
So your
and
brand,
they
your
probably
brand
read
kind
the-
of,
and they probably read the cover letter.
Yeah,
your brand
exactly.
your brand is I'm a ball buster. Is that right?
No, but I'm
Yes,
not.
it is.
No, it's not. This is how you do the job. This
Yeah.
is how you do the job.
Listen,
He's a jerk.
there's a difference if I'm saying, "Hey, listen, animal, don't be a douchebag. Tell me what I need to know right now." Or I can say, "Listen, dude, if you go like this on an interview, everyone's just going to hang up on you." One is helping, to your term, coaching, and one would be being a complete schmuck. Like, I'm totally not a schmuck to anyone. I'm direct, but as Ernie says, I do it with a chuckle and a smile, and people like it. And if they don't, they don't. What can I tell you? They're not
It's
going to do
okay that
anything
you
to
got
anybody.
fired. It's okay you got fired. We can work through that. Tell me
Is
what
it
really
okay
happened.
you got fired?
It
Is it
is.
It
okay?
happens to everyone.
Yeah, it happens
What's
to
the big
everyone.
deal?
I mean, I
Everybody
tell
gets fired.
Yeah, I mean, I tell my kids all the time. I'm like, even if you made your number for 10 straight years, no one's going to believe you unless you're going to put your W-2s and your quota attainments on your resume and you're with actual physical numbers that are going to, paint that picture. No one's going to believe you. You're better off saying you made it 9 out of 10 times.
All it takes is just having a new hiring manager come in this spot, and
Yeah.
it's a whole new game.
Territories. I
You
mean,
know.
Okay, fired. So you guys, like Ernie's saying right now, being fired is nothing. It's not radioactive. Is that what you're saying, Ernie?
No.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
And but I mean,
it depends what you get fired for. You should say.
Yeah. 7 times in 7 years, maybe we got a problem.
I mean, if you got fired because you punched your boss out, I mean, you may want to downplay that one.
Well, it depends on why,
Yeah.
But I mean, the bottom.
We placed the guy that beat up his boss, so it happens.
The bottom underlying line to all of that is a lot of times they have a chip on their shoulder, and they want to call it downsizing. They want to call it this. They give it a nice.
Well, no, I mean, they're embarrassed by it. People get embarrassed by that.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny? I remember so many times when people would say, "Well, we won't hire that guy because he got downsized or he got fired," and anyone who's good will never get downsized, and then they get downsized. And like it's okay.
And then I'll call that motherfucker up the next day.
No.
And remind him.
Yeah, and people don't understand that in the past, it was always, why do you want to come work for our company? Now this is why you want to come work for us. Yeah. It's a whole turnaround now.
But it's funny on the resumes though, like people have already forgotten about COVID. So I've got to tell candidates, like, you've got to put, when you got let go, because everyone in sales got let go for the most part during COVID, I have to tell them, put on the resume, if you did get in a riff in 2020 or 21, you've got to put on your resume next to the date was COVID, because people have already forgotten how many people got let go during that time frame. Like my whole space got destroyed. So it was, because clients are like, well, why'd they leave 20 and 21? They literally have forgotten. So you got to make it easy for them.
It's COVID. Yeah, I mean, that's easy. It's COVID, guys.
But that's the thing. But if it's not on your resume, clients forget. Hiring managers forget. They just see moves.
I got to know how he placed this guy who beat up his boss. Okay, what's the story?
It's commercial roofing is a whole total weird market. Commercial roofing guys get in fights all the time. They're rough and tumble. They're on roofs doing torch down shit. And a superintendent got in a fight with the office manager, punched him in the office, and our client still hired him because he was a great superintendent. He just lost his temper. And they said, hey, don't get into an argument with the guy. Yeah.
That's crazy.
I can't believe it. I thought maybe he slept with his wife or something like that.
Don't get him pissed off.
But yeah, how could you hire someone?
That's what they said.
He can work from home.
Yeah, how could you? Yeah, he can work from home. How could you hire someone who brought violence into the workplace?
When you're a $30 million
He's very passionate
and you're running 20% margin, you'll take risks on guys like that, especially in Florida.
Florida. You didn't say Florida. That makes sense.
Especially now.
Is this guy licensed to carry a gun in public?
Animal, he's very passionate about it. What do you expect?
Yeah, that's how you sell it. Oh, he's very passionate. Yeah.
That's good.
That's
his name is
that comment, David and Marr, is not diverse. Okay, no one's going to hear that from me. Okay?
Oh, ouch.
Okay. So is there any other tough questions that we haven't handled yet? Because I really like where that went. That was great. I think no one's going to watch this, but they would learn a lot if they did. Okay. Anybody else?
These are more therapy sessions than training sessions.
Well, maybe
This is
so.
for us. This is for us.
Yeah, it is. But I just posted a clip today from when Amy and Michael G. Cox and Steve Levy were on about how they manage these internal hiring managers. That's worth $500. Nobody watched it, but it was great. I mean, I thought it was really good. In fact, let me ask a question about that. They all said the key was show data. But we're not inside these companies, so we can't show a track record of what happened over time. Is there any way we could bring data?
Yeah, because for me, when I'll send an email, say, listen, I've placed #1 salespeople or the people that became the #1 reps at these last companies. Or, I placed, built these companies up and did, the guys that I placed were involved with like 70% of the company's revenue. or like I've worked with this particular executive and have placed 60 people with them, over the years, and the guy said, 5 exits.
Well, if I place it, so that's data to prove that you're good. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. So that
I
I'm
mean, that's the only
placing
data
right
we can
people.
bring.
Yeah, man.
I
we
think the
can't
more it's
bring
like data. Look,
company
don't worry.
data.
If the guy beat up somebody, he's probably not going to. Data shows he's not going to do it again for 10 years. Okay, it only happens once in a while.
I'm gonna let him work from home. God,
Like a volcano.
That's one of the most shocking stories we've heard in the show in all the years. Okay,
Dude, I got ones worse than that. I'm not kidding either. I got ones worse than that. So if you want a short story book of the stuff that I got, it'll blow your mind. So.
Oh, okay. Well, actually, let me see what else. Oh, I thought this was really interesting. How long should, sorry, it makes me laugh. I'm one of these guys who laugh at my own jokes. Okay. But this isn't a joke. How long should a candidate wait for me? The candidate rescheduled because I didn't join the online interview within 2 minutes. Okay.
Wait, hang on. So David posted his thing in chat. So Dave, what marketing data are you talking about? What data would you bring?
Like information about like competitors, right? If talking about different opportunities that you may see, like you're looking for a roofing manager or superintendent, and they're called this here. This company is known for paying less. We should recruit people from there. Whatever useful information is data to the conversation that you're having with the hiring managers. I'm saying,
You there's 7 companies that are currently in bankruptcy, and we think we should recruit from them. And so doesn't pay as high, and their bonus didn't pay last year, or they lost a big
those
project.
Are different. Those aren't statistics over time.
That's your marketing plan or strategy. And
marketing data is what I'm talking about. Like in the market, like that in your niche, you know
your market.
Knowledge. That's the thing. If you say you placed like 1,000 people, software sales reps and execs or whatever, or roofing supervisors or whatever it is, I mean, your stuff. Giving the data you're talking about, that's just giving out your strategy of how you would do it and telling them exactly who they should call.
Like Rich says, he'll call people up and say, "You got to move. Your boss is an asshole."
Sometimes.
Right. That's different. That's not what Amy and Steve and Michael G. Cox go. But although you are an internal recruiter, you should watch that episode if you haven't, about the kind of data they bring. I can't remember what it was.
And you're telling a guy like, "Hey, your company is in trouble." I've done that before, or I know your company, and they, a long time is 3 years, and you've been there 3.5. There's a bullseye on your back as soon as you don't meet your quota.
Hold on a sec. Ernie was VP HR. When you were VP HR, did you collect data in order to persuade your senior executives about what you wanted?
No.
Okay.
you know what I did? I was doing the security software search, and I found this grid, and it was like all these different companies, and happy employees, fast growing, sad employees, slow growing. And I literally sent an email to there's like 10 companies in the sad employees, slow growing, quadrant
category.
Yeah. And I just sent them all. I sent all these to every rep at those companies and said, "Listen, we should probably talk." And that was
a headhunter. Give me a call.
Yeah. And listen, awesome, it worked like a charm. I had more people, most of them stunk, but but I had more people calling me based on that email. And
that's fantastic.
But that's
fantastic.
That's good data.
What was your famous subject line? Tired of working for an asshole? Didn't you have one?
Yeah, that was it. Tired of working for an asshole? Call me. That was it. That was the entire email.
That's data. That's data for you. Okay,
hey,
I just want to mention that David M. Marr, M-A-R-R, just David Marr on LinkedIn. Shally, the god of sourcing, former god, but still up there in the pantheon. He interviewed him on his podcast. That means he respects him. Okay. And David M. Marr, you're still looking for a job, right?
Yes, I'm actively interviewing.
Okay, and he's not smart enough to get his own domain name, davidtherecruiter.com. I have to add that. But aside from that, he's pretty smart. If Shally and our own food industry recruiter.com say great things about him, he's a guy worth taking a look at. Okay, so there's my ad for you, Dave. Unfortunately, no one's going to see it. Actually, I do cut those ads out and I post them, and I will post that on LinkedIn. Okay, where was I? Okay, yeah. Okay, the recruiter was 2 minutes late for the online interview. The candidate didn't wait for him. and rescheduled. Then the same thing happened again. And the recruiter was offended because the candidate didn't wait a couple of minutes. What's the story there? What's your take on that? Anybody got a comment? Because I got a few of them.
The recruiter's an idiot for being late a second time.
What about the first time?
That's true.
I would say the first
It
time.
happens. Shit happens. Rich, you're on mute.
Rich is talking on the phone. He's not talking to us.
Now
okay.
I'm good.
Sorry.
No, listen, 2 minutes is a joke. I mean, you got to give someone 5 minutes. I mean, personally, if I'm
Yeah,
running
that's
late,
what I
I
do.
always send a text and say, hey, I'm running late. Give me 5 minutes. But I mean, things happen. If you're 10 minutes late, that's one thing. 2 minutes, give me a break. You
So
know,
David and Marr, are you saying they should wait 10 minutes for you? I think that's absurd, personally.
That's
No, I'm
absurd.
saying like
For me, yes.
like there are meetings that happen internally, and if candidates are interviewing, sometimes their interviews run over. So if somebody's a good candidate, I'm not gonna, if they're 10 minutes late, if they said, hey, I'm running a few minutes late, the same thing, just be respectful of people's time. But there's
Oh,
reasonable
I give
amount of time to
candidates
wait.
much longer time. I'll give candidates much longer time, but I don't expect the candidate to give me that long amount
No.
of time because they have a schedule to keep.
I agree with Tom.
I expect people to give you like 5 minutes. I know if I'm going to run late or if I even think I'm running late, I'll pause the guy that I'm on the phone with.
Me too.
And text the candidate. And, and I tell that to the person I'm on the phone with, and they totally get it and they appreciate it.
And,
You know?
and the fact that if they are upset with it and they go like little crackers on you, then that's a good sign that maybe it's somebody you should walk away from.
Totally.
You know,
They definitely should have been late the second time. They
you
should
know,
have. They should have
it was funny. I
scheduled
used
it
to,
5
when
minutes
I would
early
do-
or something.
When I would do on-site interviews when I was the VP of HR, I would deliberately have them wait outside.
That's
And
annoying.
then I tell the receptionist, tell me what they're telling you. And tell me what they're looking and thinking about. And then sometimes they'd be upset. And then they'd come into the interview and I say, so how do you handle situations when they don't go your way? Oh, hell, I adjust. I do this. I go, shit, you just got pissed off at the receptionist and cussed her out. So thank you very much. But you're always
Holy shit!
Yeah.
you're always. I mean, I had the security guard do that to
Yeah,
them
we
too.
talked about that before. I told you that's often called the dirtbag interview. So the
It ain't the
person,
dirtbag
the
interview,
receptionist can tell if the personality of the person is.
No, it's better than it's better than paying $30,000 for some personality test that no one's ever going to read.
Maybe. I'm moving on. Now, this is, I have a bone to pick with my good friend Amy Miller, who I praise to the skies, but we had a
Gonna yell at
little,
you.
we've had an ongoing tangle, okay? She claims that sourcing is only 5% of the job. I've mentioned that before. And by that, she means identification of candidates. So I started tracking this on my Facebook group, Recruiters Online. Every single day, there's people posting stuff like, hi, I'm seeking advice. Please recommend a sourcing site to look for sales, business development. Okay, I'm new to nursing. Can anyone help me or teach me how to start nurse hunting? Okay, I'm not getting enough traction for a manufacturing client. These are the 3 roles I'm looking for. There's lots of people who have trouble finding candidates, even people to call, let alone, sway
That's
them.
because they don't know that's because they don't do the job. I mean, if you're going to be in recruiting, I mean, it's kind of, sourcing isn't the sourcing part of finding the name of the people shouldn't be that hard in today's world.
The
Is
hard part is
everybody
talking
online
about-
in agreement with that?
Oh
I
my
agree with
god!
that.
With Sales Navigator? Are you kidding me?
I mean, Google.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
ChatGPT even just put in, I'm looking for nurses. I'm looking for this. It will tell you what keyword should I Google? What should I
Title,
tell you?
nurse, location, Georgia.
Yeah, I mean, some people are just, this is the problem. People in these groups, they're just lazy and want someone to do everything for them.
No, they're not lazy. They're desperate. They don't know how to
Uh,
find. They're not able
One
to
second,
find.
one second,
They
one
should
second.
invest in
Rich,
coaching.
hold on. Rich, they're lazy and cheap.
Yeah, well,
Okay,
that's
if you
it.
don't
That's
do it, you
everything.
hire someone to do
Yep.
it.
This is the problem with recruiting. We have no barrier to entry. So you get these bozos who are like, they just watched out of being a mortgage broker or whatever. And they're like, I'll be a recruiter. Great. And they're like, okay, I set up a business. I got a website. Now what do I do? I mean, every day there's some idiot posting about how do I find candidates? How do I get jobs? How do I do this? How do I do that? why would you be in business then if you have not, like, it's not being good at it, but having no idea how to do it?
And not only that, they'll post it as anonymous.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
And at least you need to be good at one half of the equation, right?
Yeah.
At least be good at either finding jobs or finding candidates, right?
Yep.
You know,
At least
there
one of
have been times when I have said, look, I'm willing to talk to you. Here's my number, send you a message, call me. You never get a call.
Me too.
Okay, what
Me
about
too.
the Shally endorsed sourcer here? What about that? What David and Marr, just in case you don't know, I'm talking to you. Okay. So
David's too polite. He just
wait.
stuff in chat. He's
David
too polite.
endorses Shally, not the other way around. Okay?
no, he was on Shally's show. Shally wasn't on his
Yeah,
show.
you know,
Okay.
you gotta give
So-
the guy some credit.
What do you say? Is identifying people only 5% of the job, potential candidates?
I don't know if I'd say 5%, but I would say it's maybe 20%. I think there's research that goes into it. There's also, once you've identified them, the courting of the candidates, right? Getting them
That's
to the
separate.
table.
Don't make me spell
Okay,
it
well,
out.
explain
okay?
to me
down
what
to
sourcing
percentages
is. What
for
do you
you.
consider sourcing? What do you
Well, there's
consider
two
sourcing?
aspects. One's recruiting, sourcing. These sources are
So-
recruiters now, right?
Well,
Engaging people.
No, it's
So that's more than
research.
5% then. What do you say is sourcing?
Yeah, but we're talking just about identifying potential
Yeah,
candidates. people to
Identifying the
call.
candidates, I would say is probably like 20%.
Amy says 5. Okay.
I'd say 10. I disagree with you, David, because it's simple. You go to Navigator, you go to Loxo Source, you go to Recruiter
Depends on
Lite
what
or whatever it
you're-
is.
It depends on what you're looking for.
That's true.
Certain things are very easy to find on
Yeah.
common places, but if you have to dig,
Okay.
and there's really
Why are we even
specifics-
talking about this?
I think it's important. For
Because he
instance,
wants
I
to yell
remember,
at Amy.
Percentage wise?
He
I
wants to-
remember
he
once
wants to-
I was
he
on
wants to yell
Hire
at Amy.
Tool looking for some kind of industrial engineer in Canada. No, there was nobody coming up from
Then
that
again, if
search.
you're a recruiter, an agency recruiter, not an internal, if you're an agency recruiter and you're working on a search that's got that limited a scope, better be one hell of a retainer anyway.
Yep.
Or you're just wasting your time.
Or a business developer.
Yeah, exactly. Seriously.
You want to
Can I
talk?
make a
Is that-
suggestion?
Yes,
Yes.
go
Can we
ahead.
stop calling it, and Rick, I'm sorry, can we stop calling it agency? I hate that term. Can we call
What
it
do you
firm?
want?
Why? What's
It's not an
that?
agency. We're not a
Firm, yes.
staffing agency. We're not
Third party
fucking,
recruiter? Is that what you
search
want?
firm, search firm, search firm,
A
search
firm,
firm.
yes, I love the term firm. It sounds like a law firm.
I feel
Agency
classier
sounds like
already.
a staffing agency.
Yes,
He likes
I feel
firm.
classier already.
That's like wide open for a sexual innuendo. I like firm.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Okay, well, we got the locker room going now, thanks to me in this case. Okay, hold on. Okay,
This is
I want to
the
know
locker
if,
room for recruiters.
yeah, it is. I want to know if this is true for, I was a bit hard on Ellie last time. She never came back. I would apologize to her, but I have to school people and train them. Okay, here. Is this true for recruiters? This law, there's a famous Canadian magazine called Maclean's, and this lawyer said, he moved around. He says, I was never able to fully shed the industry's conflict culture. From the moment you wake up until the moment you go to sleep, you're constantly bombarded by conflict. Okay. And he couldn't take it. Right. But recruiters generate a lot of hatred. They have to be willing, and I think Rich has said this, you're a recruiter, people are going to hate you. So they have to be willing to eat hatred for breakfast. Is there a conflict culture for us as well? Is it a conflict culture?
Well, yes, in an agency. No, I'm just kidding.
In a firm agency.
Fuck you
A
guys.
voice firm agency. There's a-
Listen, I don't
was
know.
waiting
You're
for
fighting
that
with
one.
the
That's
hiring
one thing.
managers, even internal. You're fighting with the hiring managers. They're dope.
Yeah.
So I have another. Okay, and you're fighting with the stupid candidates. It's always, and there's always people saying how much they hate recruiters. Is it a conflict culture, generally speaking?
Yeah, because Rich said it perfectly. It's such a low barrier entry that the quality of recruiters out there make everyone hate them, and the good ones have to deal with that.
That's why you.
I have
if
a
you-
point to make you, Animal.
And also, if
Listen,
you
if you look at anything that you have to be successful at, there's going to be a conflict in it. Okay, you can't be successful being a wet rag and doing your job, right? You're going to bump a few heads, crack a few omelets.
Okay,
I mean, crack a few
Lennon.
eggs to make a couple of
Mr.
omelets.
Crack a
Lennon.
few eggs, make a few omelets, but okay.
Yeah, right. But you're going to have a conflict culture.
Indian
No, you
version.
see the most well-paid, any good, well-paid industry, except maybe for medicine Okay, because that's like crazy to get
So
in.
if you're
But the
placing
general-
software developers, that's a conflict culture?
Well,
No,
I'm fighting to get them hired, right?
okay, that's you. That's a recruiter, okay?
You know,
Okay.
when they say
What do you
coming
mean by
off all- when they-
conflict
when they
culture
say
then? I
coming
don't
off all
understand what you're
crazy,
saying.
all you have to just tell them, hey, did your mom not give you enough hugs? What the hell?
Okay.
And you bring
me-
them
I
back
say
down.
yes. It's
Okay,
true.
let me
You get
ask
it,
an-
My
you
mom-
let me
get-
ask
you
an-
get-
an
you
easy-
get that conflict, you get that conflict going, you get that stress going on with the conversation. You just
Also,
gotta
your
give them a
pictures-
joke
your-
around.
Okay, I don't like the answers we're getting. We're moving on. We'll come back to this another time. Here's an easy
How
question.
can you not like the truth?
Here's an easy question. Because your answer was nonsense. Okay, I'm going to tell you quite
Why was it
frankly.
nonsense? Can you
Okay.
I'm going to have a
Uh,
conflict with you. Can
yeah.
you clarify why it's nonsense?
Okay,
Now.
okay, but this is for Tom. Okay, I think he answered it online. What's the best LinkedIn Sales Navigator scraper tool? Okay, that provides
Oh,
accurate
Jesus.
business emails. Okay,
That'll
But
get
guys,
banned.
don't you
Yes,
think
this
Tom
is
looks
all
like
the
the guy
time.
from Better Call Saul? You know that boss.
Yeah.
never watch it.
Oh, you gotta watch it. You never watch
It's
Breaking
like
Bad? Better Call
Palmero
Saul?
Roads.
No.
You gotta watch. Go
Well,
post a
so
picture. of the guy.
me and Rich have this, we were talking about this, I think, on the other day. Sales QL to me is the best because it gives you a decent, all of them miss, all of them say they're great, but they all miss, right? Sales QL is $40, 1,000 lookups, a great scraper, 25 at a time, and it puts it in a Excel spreadsheet for you. You can import it anywhere.
Hold on.
That's why I
Is
like it.
Sales
It's not the
QL
best,
qualify?
but
You
it's-
call it? Is it in the scraper category as opposed
No,
to
it's a
just?
data enrichment tool.
Yeah.
Scrapers
scraper?
are things like instant data scraper, data miner, link gopher, things like that. Where you're doing a search, you're on a web page and you need to pull all the information and put it into a spreadsheet. And that's what those do.
Oh,
Okay.
I don't
you
know what that
you're
is
not
then.
using scrapers. 'cause
Data,
this-
data enrichment.
why would
is
I
where-
use a scraper? What would I use a scraper for?
It just does it quicker. But then
So
you
if you're
got
on a
to
web
put it in your
page, instead of
database.
you manually having to say Joe Blow, Barney Fife, Freddy Krueger, whatever.
You
and
could
type
build
it
your
in-
sales nav list and it would scrape them all at once.
Correct.
Oh, that's what Sales Navigator does. I mean, a Sales QL does that. They have that in beta. I can just press it and do 5 pages, but you can't touch anything.
Yeah, like you can do that with Swordfish and Lucia too.
Yeah, and Use Artemis does it. Yeah, I can do, if I do a list for Sales Navigator with 300 people, I can hit one button and it'll scrape all 300. It just takes longer and it's not as,
Yeah, and but with
Nice.
data
Yeah, I mean-
enrichment tools like David is talking about, there's no danger of LinkedIn putting you in LinkedIn jail or kicking you out. With scrapers, you're
Never.
taking a risk,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, and then
100%.
honestly, by the time you export it all, then import it all, it's just easy to do it one at a time. I find. So
Okay, this person
Well, I'm
uses.
glad we
he
got
said-
that settled.
Well, yeah, hold on. He says I'm currently using Scrap, SKRAPP,
I've heard that
and
one.
out of 2,000 profiles scraped, I'm getting about 300 to 500 verified after I run them through a verification tool.
Yeah, that person's.
what the fuck are you doing with 10,000? Oh my God.
Well, Dave will tell
Is
us.
that
Go ahead.
that other idiot
So-
that keeps posting on LinkedIn
So
there?
part of what sourcing does is when you're doing like name generation or like talent mapping, you're doing basically that. You're scraping all the software development engineers at company that, your data identified that are.
Are you
security-
sinking? Are you in a rowboat that's going down? Or
I know,
something?
he's going up and down.
More
He's driving me
importantly,
crazy.
check out the picture in chat and then look at Tom.
Hey, I'll take it.
Hey,
That guy-
I'm
I
not
like-
making
I
fun
love
of
it.
him.
He's a
He's
great-
a handsome
No,
man.
I like
you
him.
know?
He's a good looking guy.
Yeah, and he's a great actor.
I have better
Let's get
hair.
an
Good
answer.
lawyer.
Sorry,
He's pretty
We're on
good
a
as a
show.
lawyer also.
We're on a show.
I didn't want
okay?
to slow anything down, but seriously,
Yeah.
come on.
Tom's gonna come.
I
Tom's
want to
gonna
hear
come
what were you
exactly
saying
dressed
about
like that.
well, I can't even remember. He was explaining scrapers, the value of scrapers.
Yeah, so scrapers would be like where you're doing talent mapping and you're mapping out all the software engineers at whatever competitor you want to hire for or from. So as you are researching them, you use a scraping tool and it puts it into a spreadsheet. And you basically go through all the different sources you're going to be scraping the data, the software engineer data from, and then you put it all to the spreadsheet, and then you use a data enrichment tool that will then go out and validate, this person, here's their email address, and go down the list.
Okay. Do you recommend a scraper tool, and how dangerous are they to use?
They're not dangerous. I mean, you have to be aware of what you're doing. Like if you're on publicly available information, it's no big deal. But if you go on to like things like LinkedIn, Facebook, whatever, they may have terms of service that you're
Yeah.
One-
So now you're saying it's not dangerous, but it is, okay, on all the big sites that we
No, it
want to use
Depends
them
on
on,
the site.
okay?
It depends on the site and how it scrapes.
Exactly. Well, it
Wait,
depends on the
listen,
site.
wait,
if you
the
have to
bottom
pay
line is,
for it,
wait, hang
and
on,
the terms of
because the
service.
bottom line, LinkedIn, everything is illegal on LinkedIn.
Yep.
Like no matter what you're doing, you're breaking some term of agreement there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it doesn't matter which tool you're using because LinkedIn
That's
is
what they call
All you're
hyperbole.
supposed to do is
Okay,
connect with
which
people you know.
scraper
That's the only
tool do
legal
you
thing.
recommend? Which scraper tool? Don't make me pull it out of you, okay? Which one? Super Sorcerer, who was on Charlie's,
Data
who
miner,
was on
and
Charlie's
instant data
show.
scrape- and data miner and instant data scraper are the ones that I like.
Data miner.
Scrap
And
sucks. It doesn't get you phone numbers.
okay, well, I don't know anything
Yeah.
about scrap. Okay, and he didn't recommend it, but give us a story of when you used one of those. What search did you use those on?
Software engineering manager, and I was
What is this?
What's it called
This
again?
guy.
Data miner and instant data scraper. Okay.
Yeah. they're Chrome extensions.
Yeah.
Okay.
You need some
What
programming or
search
something,
have
right?
you used them on? Give us a sample. Tell us a story.
I was
No wonder he's
researching-
looking for a job. Well, I have to teach him how to interview, okay?
You cold, man.
I learned from Rich. I learned from Rich, okay?
Don't
Software
blame me.
engineering manager. I was pulling software engineering managers from Amazon, and I did different searches in different search engines, and then I put them into the sheets, and then I used an enrichment tool and got the email addresses
So
from.
how many software engineers did you end up with in that?
I usually do about 500 at a time.
And how long does it take to get 500?
It's basically limited on the computer. If you have a super fast computer with high internet, and you're not scraping from like a LinkedIn, then you can scrape it real fast. It's like almost minutes. If you're doing it from LinkedIn, then you have to add a delay in there so that way they don't identify you or flag you as a robot. But even when I was doing it from LinkedIn, and let's say I would do 200 at a time, it would take probably 30 minutes because they add like
Okay,
a
when
bot.
you weren't doing it from LinkedIn, what were you doing it from? Google?
No, I used Zap Info at that time, but that Zap
Okay.
Info is no longer around.
Okay. Okay.
You
Does
can use
anybody-
it on Yellow Pages. You can use it
Yeah.
you can grab companies. The way that it works, I just saw it, is it'll grab anything you want that's on the website and put it in an Excel spreadsheet. So if you go to a Yellow Pages and get 500 roofing companies, it'll put them in there, the title of the company name, any contact info that's there, etc. So
Okay.
that's when you can use it quick.
Did I cut off Mario? Did Mario want to say something 10 minutes
No,
ago?
no, no, no. You please, guys, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm caught
Okay.
up to something.
Okay. Does anybody else have
You
a
told him
burning?
his last answer was stupid, so.
No, that was
Yeah,
David I was
obviously.
talking
I'm
to. I was talking to
butthurt, okay?
Dave.
I'm
Okay.
totally butthurt now.
He's
Good
hurt.
job.
He's hurt.
Oh,
Yeah,
no, that was
I'm
right.
gonna
I was
act like
talking to
a-
Mario. Yeah, I was talking to Mario.
I'm gonna act all dramatic, okay?
Maybe I wasn't so hard on Ellie after all. That's just how I talk. Okay. Oh, here's a question. Okay. If you are a cold caller, do you prefer using your personal cell phone number or a separate number through services like Google Voice or a paid cold calling software such as HubSpot? I didn't know about that last one. Anybody else familiar with that stuff?
Yeah,
I use my phone all the time.
yeah. We're in business.
Yeah.
We want to be reached.
So hold on. I thought you used Google Voice, Rich. Am I wrong about that?
I use Ring Central, but it rings to my cell phone, rings to my
Oh,
desk.
Ring Central. Okay, yeah. You
I
pay
use Google
400 a year.
Voice and Loxo and my cell phone. I don't care.
Yeah, as long as they get back to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
what matters.
You're the only one here who uses Ring Central, $400 a year, right?
Something like that.
And you had a problem with it that you sorted
Animal.
out. Am I right?
Yeah, I mean, it works. Like it's like everything else. It's not perfect, but it works.
Okay,
99%
Mario, what do you want to say?
of the time.
Yeah, I use Dialpad, okay? And that's another software similar to Ring Central. David and Marr, you're right. I agree with you. He hurt my feelings. Okay, but yeah, Dialpad is another software. It costs a lot of money, okay?
You've been on the show for a few years already. Don't tell it. In fact, what is it? Michael G. Cox said, if
Yeah.
you're on the Recruiting Animal Show, I posted it. He said, don't worry about looking bad. Okay. You've already left that behind you. And that's essentially what Rich says to his candidates and clients. Don't worry. I'm asking you these questions because I'll help you by exposing your weaknesses. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to use that same line. Okay. I'm helping you, Mario. I'm teaching you.
So you mean to say help
You
people
take
by
a
breaking
meeting
down?
and like it, okay?
Oh Jesus.
I
So
swear
what
this is a total locker room, okay?
Yeah,
But it's
well,
better than any other locker room.
What about this paid cold calling software from HubSpot? Does anybody else know about that?
Hey, there are so many tools for paid cold calling softwares, okay?
Yeah, that's
You have
yeah.
Phone Burner, you have Fixie, you have
There's a million of them. Yeah.
yeah,
Outplay's got
and
it.
not
I mean, they
all
all
are
have
that great.
Yeah.
But nobody uses it?
No,
Why?
we use
What's Ernie laughing about so much? I'm like, okay.
Just the whole conversation just funny.
No, I'll cut. Well, hold on.
You
Somebody said,
I mean, like, what's the best tool to find a phone number? And like all of us know, there ain't none. There's no
hold on. I've got a list. I copied all Tom's stuff.
You better have 3 or 4 of them to go.
Oh, he's in a lineup. You're freaking me out, okay, with that background.
Animal,
You like
there are
that?
even-
He's 7'9".
I'm
They're 7
gonna,
feet
Hey,
tall.
Ernie, hold on. I got a
Is that
very good
better?
answer for that.
Is that better?
What's the best tool to get a phone number is the phone. You call it the company.
That was
and ask them
really
for the
very
number.
witty. Okay, I'm going to be nice. That was so smart. Unbelievable. Thank you,
Dude,
Mario.
we didn't have the opportunity to use these things when we started. I got phone numbers.
Hey,
by calling up
dinosaur,
people.
nobody cares, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on a second. Let
Use
me
the
get
phone
this.
book.
Another recruiter answered that question like this. Don't use your personal phone number. It's eventually going to get flagged as spam and people will stop answering it. Always use a disposable solution. When
That's
it begins
stupid.
showing up as spam, replace it. Okay. Does anybody agree with that?
Let me ask you this: does it become a spam if it's like you're calling everybody else, or is it just that one person?
I don't know, but it takes a lot for your phone to get marked as spam. I think.
Yeah.
You know, Ernie's like Socrates. He asks questions that make you think.
To make you feel like an idiot. That's why they killed Socrates. Okay.
Let's get some poison coffee for Ernie.
Yeah, I mean, no, but I think, people will just block your number. Like you get spam calls, you're just going to block people's numbers.
Hmm.
I mean, that's going to happen eventually. You can't worry about it.
Yeah.
Isn't that like, I don't know. Have you called one candidate 20 times or more?
Probably.
Rich must have.
Yeah, probably.
Hey, I think Tom Tuna has done that. He has called them.
Yeah, call till one of you
die.
dies. Okay, that's Tom Tuna's rule. Call till one of you dies. Okay. Well, here's a question. Okay, and I'm asking it. I didn't think I would ask it, but our friend Tom actually kind of answered his already. So, have you made peace with any of your weaknesses as a recruiter? And he said, you know your weaknesses. What are they, Tom? You want to tell us here? Because you seem very confident. You seem very confident.
Yeah,
and yet
I mean,
say-
I'm lazy. I don't have the drive needed to do the big. Well, I have the talent to do the big numbers. I don't have the drive. I find myself getting, look at the cat, look at the squirrel. Weapons of mass distraction. I buy too many stupid things that Ernie yells at me about. I talk too fast.
No, but hold on a second. This is like, what's your greatest weakness? I work too hard. But you're saying, and I know in the past, when you compared yourself to Rich, you said, I admire what Rich does, but I like to enjoy my life. I like to smell the coffee, okay? Rich says, okay, but I take 2 months off vacation. You like to take it on a day-to-day basis, right? So
I got
that's
up at
not
10
like,
today, and I'll be done at 4 if I'm lucky.
is that a weakness, everybody? I don't consider it a weakness. Ernie would say that's
Depends
one
what
of the
your goal
pleasures
is.
of working for yourself.
It depends what your goal is, I guess.
It all
Yeah.
depends on what your goal is.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Anybody else want to talk about their weaknesses? I admire you, Tom, although those weren't really weaknesses. Okay, you talk fast.
ADHD, inability to organize
Every recruiter's
properly.
got ADHD.
Spend
Every
spend
time you
money
do
on
that, I
stupid
think of
shit
Barney with
I
the
don't
short
need.
arms and the purple, baby. I'm like,
I don't know what weaknesses. Like I'm not,
Okay,
I don't explain
we
things
don't have to.
properly.
Okay, okay, fine. I wasn't going to ask the question, but you kind of implied something about it before.
but you know what? But Tom's weakness is the same as mine. Same as pretty much most really big billers. To be honest with you, it's like your job. You're not great probably as a recruiter, in my opinion. Like I'm probably not great as a recruiter, but I am great at getting shit done. That's the difference.
And pushing, we push.
Yeah, but because there's plenty of recruiters I know that are far better than me. They're way more articulate.
I don't believe you. I don't believe you for a second. That's what you're
1,000%.
good at, is you're articulate. You will talk to people in a lighthearted way, no matter
I
what.
That's
will,
not
but
articulate.
you know
That's
what?
not articulate.
That's not articulate.
That's
Being
not,
eloquent
that's the
and having,
not giving a
like,
shit.
Yeah, I mean, there's guys in Pinnacle and there's guys that are not in Pinnacle that I know are they have such a deeper understanding of certain things. They give a much more eloquent pitch about things. I give a very raw, real pitch. It works for me, so it works. But the differences between me and most of these guys, even like Michael G. Cox, he gives a great presentation, but he doesn't do nearly the amount of business I do because he just doesn't have that same, not to knock him, but doesn't have the same drive essentially. He could totally do it, but he's got different priorities. He's got things he's got to get done. And but he's probably gives a better pitch technically than I do.
Okay.
There are recruiters that don't use rebuttal. They won't.
Yeah.
There are recruiters that look at this as a very black and white animal type person. who
Not
wants,
animal.
This is how things are done, and those people can be successful, but they're not going to build a big numbers because they'll never go outside that box of their comfort zone.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask a question. Okay, I mentioned it. I don't know if you guys saw it. Zoom wants to charge me $200 again for a year. Okay, so
For what?
for using the show, right? I pay for the show because that gives me an hour. Okay, but they give me 100 hours a month for that. I use it for 4 hours a month. So if I get it for free, the show will only be 40 minutes a session.
Why don't you
I
use
think
Google Meet?
Is it as good as this? I hear people have
Yeah,
endless
it's
problems.
It's $2
much
a
better
month,
now.
unlimited. What?
Tom, you should send him your Friday podcast.
Yeah,
I can look
dude,
it up.
go-
He posts them on
Go to my
YouTube. But
YouTube. Go to my YouTube channel and see all our meetings. It's all done with Google Meet. They go into 2 hours sometimes. I pay $2 a month for that.
and it's the quality. Okay, I'll take a look at the quality and see it.
Tom, how many
Yeah, the
guys-
quality's fine.
Tom, how
What
many
if-
guys are on your team? You're for recruiting.
6. He's got 6,
4.
right?
4. Well, 4 now.
Not for your profile. I posted your profile this week. I thought.
Yeah,
you said there
I
was 6.
gotta remember, people come and go. I had a girl that just quit, but she's coming back now. So with her, we're back up to 5 again.
Okay, that's an interesting story, but I don't have time for it.
4.5,
Okay,
4.5.
but okay, I'm gonna check it out. But 40 minutes wouldn't be bad either. Although we had a lot of fun today for an hour, I'd say this was a
Yeah,
great show.
Hey, come on, an hour is worth it. Okay, I don't mind even pitching in for the Google
No.
Zoom if you want. Okay,
No,
I don't
no.
mind.
Yeah, Animal, come.
It's
you know,
worth
look at
it.
my Google,
This is
come
like the
talk to me
best
about it. I'll
therapy
show
we
you
can
what
get,
I do.
okay?
You can stream this. I don't know if you want to do that or not. I stream my meetings every Friday live.
Yeah, what's the point of that? Nobody. How many people watch it live? Okay.
4 or 5, and then if it's you do it every week.
Same number of people who watch the
You
recruiting
do that
animal
every
show.
week, and then you
No,
also.
I saw you got
once
got
you
4 or
stream
5
it-
people calling in. Okay. I'll do with this offline. David M. Marr,
That's fine.
I ridiculed him, but he's worth looking at. Okay, I believe it. Okay, Ernie, say something. You like David M. Marr. You think he'll be a good candidate for a corporate sourcing position. Am I right, or have you changed your mind?
David is a whiz kid in sourcing, man. I sat there and I was amazed at what he could tell me how to improve things in recruiting. I've been doing this for 20 years.
There
He's
you
good.
go. That's from
He's
Food
good.
Industry Recruiter, PRSearchInc.com. That's a tough one. CornerstoneSearch.com. Number 14. Raise your hand. MarioTheRecruiter.com and David M. Marr, Job Hunter. Bye, everybody.